My name's Selina. I'm an ancient DNA researcher.
My name's Ian Barnes. I am an ancient DNA researcher.
We're part of the Ancient DNA group at the Natural History Museum in London. Our job is to get DNA from individuals who died in the past from different time points. We use that DNA to answer questions to do with taxonomy sometimes, evolutionarily relevant questions, what happened in the past, and it also allows us to pinpoint certain times in the past and look at a question, look at a change, and sample the DNA from either side of that so we can see what has changed over this time point.
So recently we've been working on a project to explore human population change over the last 10,000 years or so in Britain. The first of those projects looked at the transition from the Mesolithic, a period where humans were hunting and gathering in Britain about 6,000 years ago, to farming, the Neolithic period. And the second transition that we explored looked at the change at the end of the Neolithic with the arrival of beaker culture, which was a new material culture brought in by a different group of people at that time.
We use DNA to actually try and understand things like movements of people. So your signature, your DNA signature, if I took your DNA or my DNA, there are many things that would be the same, humans, but there are things that would be very different depending on our background, where we've come from. So what you can do by looking at the DNA is look at the DNA from an individual from a certain time point, and then take another individual from a different time point, or again, same time point, a different place, say. And then you can compare those two, and from those signatures, see, are these the same signatures that you get? So when we're looking at these time points, what we want to know is it the same group of people? Ian was talking about, you go from a hunter-gatherer to a farmer. What we want to know from the DNA is are those people the same? Or is it a whole different group of people that suddenly arrive and start farming? And by looking at the DNA and the differences and similarities in the DNA, you can answer those kinds of questions.
What have you found then?
They're very different people. Yeah, so this is not a transmission of ideas or culture. It's actually a whole different group of people who enter into the UK at this time point, bringing farming with them. And it's just a really odd time point to be thinking, how did this happen? So to be able to answer that and say, actually, it was different groups of people coming in, it just makes you have a better understanding of how these massive changes occur, and for us to understand our ancestry.